today's session. I would like to request you for all your cooperation in completing this seminar. Kindly mute your audio and video to avoid interruption. You can submit any questions in the chat box. You can send the questions in at any time during the presentation. We will collect the same and address them at the end of the presentation. Thank you for your cooperation and attention. We shall begin today's session with a small video. I request Architect Siddharth sir to play the video. morning, everyone. I'm Sama Hassan, a fourth year student, and I'll be your moderator for today. On behalf of the Triple 80 team, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate you taking some of your time off your busy schedules to join us in this seminar. We hope you will enjoy learning with us today and hope this session proves to be fruitful and engaging. Before the presentation begins, I'd like to introduce our presenter, architect Surya Prakash. Architect Surya Prakash is the founder of SP Square Sustainable Design Solutions, a firm that has been established to do a small part in reducing carbon and GHG emissions by proper designing, simulations, and further understanding of the building's performance. He has completed his post-graduation from the School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, in sustainable architecture, and has worked in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu since then. He is currently working as an assistant professor in Rajalakshmi School of Architecture, Chennai, and is also running his firm parallelly. His strength lies in learning and understanding sustainable standards, which involve new rating systems, building performance in terms of energy modeling and simulations. He is always willing to contribute more towards the irreplaceable environment and an approach for sustainable lifestyle. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome the presenter to deliver his presentation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sama, for the wonderful introduction. So, good morning, everyone.
Very good morning.
Thank you, sir. Let's jump into today's session. So today's session is about green building rating systems. Okay. So what is a green building rating system? Okay. So a green building is the one which requires integrated design process to make it environmentally responsible and resource efficient. Okay, because we have to make this process throughout its building's life cycle, from design stage to its demolition stage. So to oversee this process, the green building rating and certification systems were established. Okay, so this system's main job is to award or certify the buildings which is designed to reduce the overall impact of the environment and that impact on the human health also. Okay, so what this will do is it will have some major categories under each and every rating system will have its own categories. Under based on the building's performance on that particular categories, it will award it will rate that building. For example, if the building is rated 5-star, okay, that means the building's performance is very good. The building performance on reducing the environment impact is very good. Okay, but if the building is rated 1-star, still the building's performance is okay. It is reducing the environmental impact, but it is not reducing as much as the as much as the 5-star rated building. Okay, for example, let me annotate. So consider this is one building. This is a 5-star rated building. Okay, this is another building. This is 1-star rated building, and this is your normal conventional building. Okay, so now this 5-star rated building performance will be very good. Okay, this 1-star rated performance also is good because these both are reducing environmental impact of the building. But this 5-star would be better than this 1-star. Okay, this 1-star rated building will be better than this conventional rated building. Okay, it's all we'll know which is better only when compare the buildings. Okay. So any rating system you take, it will be based on these 4 principles. Okay, first is like science based. Okay, so the rating system should be like all the categories, all the formulas that is given in this rating system book should be like must be reproducible by others using the same standard. For example, you take Griha, it's a rating system in India. If it all the things that is given listed in the Griha, it should be applicable anywhere and everywhere in India. Okay, if I'm if I'm it should address or around the country. Okay, it cannot focus on only one place, and it cannot say simply focus on the theoretical side of it. It should very much address the practical side of the issues also. Okay, so if you apply that in Chennai, so that manual should address all the places in the country. Okay, it should connect the differences, and it should understand the differences in the country, and you should address that. Okay, then the rating system should be very transparent. For example, I am applying for the rating of my building. If I'm being rejected of the rating, then I should know what happened, where it went wrong, where it went south. I should know that. Okay, so the rating system should tell uh, uh, the person who is applied of what reason is being rejected. Okay, and it should be like transparent and open book throughout the process. Okay, and then the rating system's objective should be like free of conflict. Okay, and it's also like it should focus on the environment and the human health. Okay, and then it should be progressive because the standard should advance industry practices. It should not be like it should not be like other as usual conventional methods. Okay, because we are going for this rating system to stray away from these conventional methods. Okay, so it should not like it should not reflect the same old conventional methodologies. Okay. Another important thing is attributes. So the rating system is these attributes is what define the rating system. For example, single attribute means only one. The rating system will focus on only one thing. For example, there are some rating system. One rating system called SITES, SITES. That will focus on only landscape. Okay, that will judge the landscape area of the building. You take some big parks or some community development projects where some large development projects where this open space and parks are more. Okay, so that site landscape will come and is made for this landscape assessments, and it will check the it will say guidelines for what plants to use, how much water should that particular plants should consume, and then what is the native plants can be used. It will give all types of suggestion on how much energy is being spent on the landscape. So it will all give checklist and criteria for landscape alone. And there is one rating system called TRUE that will be focusing on only energy. There is one rating system called WELL that is focused on only human health. So if the rating system is focusing on only one particular output and motto, that is called single attributed rating system. Then if the rating system is focusing on multiple things like emissions, toxicity, and then water, energy, environmental performance, then it is a multi-attributed rating system. Okay. So now, before discussing the Indian rating systems, I would like to discuss some of the. I would like to say start with where it all started. Okay, so this is a first rating system that is started in the world. Okay, it is a UK-based rating system, United Kingdom-based rating system. And this is BREEAM. Full form is Building Research Establishment Environmental Assessment Method. Okay, this is the first rating system it started in the world. It is being governed by this BRE Global. This institute is governing this rating system. So it started in the year of 1990 in UK, and then now it has its wings spread out almost 30 to 40 countries. Even in India, they are trying to bring this rating system, like saying BREEAM India like that. But mainly this is famous in Europe Union, and then this EFTA, Europe Free Trade Association. These all countries, it is very famous. And currently, there are almost 530,000 certified developments under BREEAM is happening all around the world. Okay, so what I said attributes here, you can see that is what mentioned as categories. So every rating system will have these kind of will have categories on their own. So this BREEAM is having these 8 categories. This category is nothing but the building or project will be rated or will be rated based on the building project's performance under all these categories. For example, under energy and use, they will have 10 checklist. Okay, the lighting energy should be 50%. The water usage should be should be reduced from 100 to 75%. Then the HVAC, the air conditioned load should be reduced from 100 tons to 75 tons. Like that, they will have checklist under every categories. So they will check. The BREEAM team will check how the building is performing on all these checklists under each categories, under energy and use, under internal environment, under pollution, under transport, then materials, waste, ecology, like that. So after assessing on all these categories, the building will get some score. Based on that particular score, your building will be rated. So this BREEAM has this pass, good, very good, excellent, and outstanding. Okay, so based on this score that is generated by the performance of the building under these 8 categories, your building is rated. Your building is certified on any one of these levels. Okay, so outstanding being well performed in all these categories, pass meaning averagely or below averagely performed in all these categories. Okay, I won't go into detail under all this because it's such huge topics. Since we have only 1 hour, I will just explain the categories and the certification levels of all the rating systems. Okay. So though the categories and the certification level is different for one rating system to another, the intent would be almost the same, to rate the green building based on its performance or environment impact. Okay, and BREEAM it provides it assesses the building under all these stages. Pre-assessment in the sense like before the building being built, based on your drawing, the BREEAM will assess your building's intent, and then on the design stage, and then on the management stage, and then on the occupancy stage, and then after the building being demolished. So all these 5 stages, the BREEAM will check your building's performance. And this is one of the costliest rating system in the world. So the next is BEAM, BEAM Plus. This is a Hong Kong-based rating system. This started in 1996. This is the second rating system that started in the world. It started as HK BEAM, Hong Kong BEAM. Then the Hong Kong Green Building Council took it under its control, and then it named it again as BEAM Plus, a building environment assessment method. Okay, so under this rating system has these categories, these 6 categories. You can see the difference between this BREEAM and this BEAM. Okay, so maybe the names are different, but there is a slight modification based on the context of the rating system. The categories will change. Okay, but the intent behind these categories is to reduce the impact of the environment and to promote healthier lifestyle. Okay. So it has site aspects, material aspects, energy, water, indoor environmental quality, and innovation. So based on the building's performance on these 6 categories, the building will be rated either gold or platinum. Okay. So site aspects being sustainable, selection of the sustainable site, and then water use like same. And the indoor environmental quality should be like the building should have visual, thermal, and acoustic comfort. It should increase the productivity of the employees, such as like that. Next is LEED. This is actually the, after this BEAM, this LEED started in the year 1998. This is the most used rating system in the world now. It is almost. It has almost this data is old one, but it has almost its wings on 120 countries now. LEED is using, and even India also we have so many LEED rated buildings. LEED is full shortcut for leadership in energy and environmental design. Okay. So like the attributes of LEED would be these 7. Okay. So after LEED, what are the rating systems that is being developed or started after LEED. That means after 1998, will have its roots from LEED. Okay, they studied LEED. Now LEED is the you can call LEED is the mother of many rating systems in the world. Okay, they studied LEED. They thoroughly LEED, and then based on their context and location, they added a few other criteria and made their rating systems. Many there are so many rating systems that is started based on LEED. So LEED has these 7 criteria. But the important thing in LEED is like all the other thing is like the rating systems only, like sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy, materials, indoor air quality, everything. Regional priority, this one thing they added in LEED that made stand out. Regional priority in the sense because since LEED is used in over 100 countries, LEED has added this point so that the country's context can be adopted, can adopt LEED easily. So LEED does not want to change the context or culture to delete the cultural identity of the building. So regional, if you give your regional priority, for example, if you are going to build one building in the town municipal area like that, so you don't have to go fully Western style. Okay, so if you have supporting documents proving that I gave regional priority and importance, LEED is ready to give you some points. Okay, and the innovation is designed in the sense. Okay, LEED will give all these LEED will give all criteria and categories, everything. Apart from that, if some developers or promoters want to involve their materials in the design, or some construction techniques is being patented and they want to use that in the building, they are most welcome to use that. And you have to give supporting documents to prove that the material is safely used and everything. Then you will get points for that. So after thorough consideration only, they made these 7 categories, which is doing very good job in reducing the environmental impact. Okay. So LEED certification levels is based on these 4 levels. One is like certified, silver, gold, platinum. So certified is like just passing the score on these 7 categories, and platinum would be like performing very well under these 7 categories. Okay, and LEED is famous for one more thing. LEED created separate standards for different types of buildings. For example, if you see here, this is like these 7 categories. And under the 7 categories, many criteria would be there. That is applied for every building. Whatever typology of building, it is the same. For example, school, factories, apartments, office, everything is the same principle to be applied. But LEED, what they did is they made these separate designations. For example, LEED NC, that is for new construction. Any building that is going to be newly constructed, it should follow this LEED NC manual. And then LEED EP, that is for existing buildings, and then LEED CA, that is for only commercial interiors alone. And then LEED CS, CS is core and shell. Core and shell is like, for example, you think a commercial mall. So the mall space would be like only the exterior walls and the interior columns and everything will be done by the client. But the interior walls and segregation of spaces will be done by the tenants only. So those kind of buildings, and take some office spaces like Infosys and IT office spaces. So the whole hall will be like simply built. Okay, but the interior space segregation will be done only after the tenant is involved. Okay, so those kind of buildings is called a core and shell. So for those core and shell, LEED separately made standards. So why they made is because whatever is applicable for commercial, it cannot be applicable as applicable for residential buildings. So many what to say, it became tough for the people or green consultant to follow those. So it is been made for made separately for different typologies of the building, so that everyone can follow their own thing. For example, if I want to build one commercial mall, I can directly go for this LEED CS thing. Under this LEED CS, I will have the criteria which is only needed needed to build a green potential project. Okay, I don't need to worry about other things. Okay, so it made the life of the green consultant and client easier. Okay, and then LEED for homes, and then LEED for schools, and then LEED for retail, and then LEED neighborhood development such as this community housing projects like that. So everything LEED made separate codes they made, and they made us follow only those. Okay, and then after that, Korean Green Building Council frame that is for South Korea. It created in the year 2002, and those criteria is these 5: land use, transportation, and it gave importance for ecology. Okay, so you can see the difference in criteria for different countries. Okay, so based on the country's need and immediate issue on hand, these criteria are made in the rating system. Okay, and this KGBC will offer rating for all these different types of buildings, say hotels, office buildings, multi-use residence, and then schools, stores, etc. And in this KGBC, you have 2 levels of certification. One is first grade green building, and then certification grade green building. First grade green building will be the best, and certification will be the above average type. Okay, I'm just added these slides because to make you to explain the formation and science behind the formation of rating systems. Okay, next one is Green Star. This is started in Australia, and then it has its branches on New Zealand and then South Africa. Okay, it started in the year 2003, and it has all these. This is one of the rating system which has so many criteria categories to consider. Okay, it has management, IEQ, then energy, transport, water, minerals, and then it is this is one of the rating system which gave importance to all these social, economic, and environmental issues. Okay, it has one category for economic prosperity, and then it is for one category for governance, and then everything separate it made. But it is only famous in this only used in the Australia region. It didn't used. It's not much used elsewhere. Say because for example, LEED and all, it's used in over 100 countries, but it is used in only these regions because it hadn't had the vision to consider worldwide expansion. Okay, all these criteria will address the issues only on the particular only in the Australia region. Okay, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. So only for that particular context they made these categories. They didn't make these categories that can be employed anywhere in the world. But LEED is not like that. It is developed to be used around the world. Okay, and in this for the certification in Green Star, they divided into 2 levels. One is like every building will get 2 certification. One is like only for design. Okay, so how that building is designed. For that they will give 4-star, 5-star, 6-star. 4 being the average one, and 6 being the better one. And for performance they will give 1 to 6-star, 1 being the poor one and 6 being the better one. Okay. Next is CASB. This is a comprehensive assessment system for environment efficiency. This is based on Japan. Okay, it's established in the year 2003. So this has 2 categories, and those 2 categories divided into three sections each. So under quality, you have indoor environment, quality of service, and then outdoor environment of the site. And then under loading, what are all you can do? quantitatively. So energy, resource materials, and then outside environment, that is came under loading. So this loading part will exactly access the environmental load by these sections. Okay, but this quality part will see things in a qualitative way. Indoor environment means you can say the indoor environment is good or better or best, like that. Okay, in energy you should say the energy is 14 kilowatt hour or 15 kilowatt hour, like that we can say. Okay. So this CASP has 5 levels. So S being excellent and C being poor. So anything above B minus, it would be like anything above B minus, it would be good in this CASP certification. Next is well. This is single attribute rating system. For example, why means this focus only on the health and well-being of the humans. Okay, so this is the only standard that is purely will focus on the human health. Okay, and human well-being. Okay, it has almost 100 criteria with it. Based on the 100 criteria, it will judge the building. Okay, it won't talk about energy. It won't talk about energy, light, or something like that. Everything it will talk about in a qualitative way. For example, air. So air, it will talk about how much fresh air could come in. So how that fresh air will have the good impact on human health, like that. So it has 7 concepts for healthier buildings. So all this thing, it is like green building rating system, but well is the healthier building rating system. Okay, so it has 7 concepts. One is air, water, nourishment, light, fitness, comfort, and mind. So you can see this criteria, difference in the criteria itself. So of all the rating systems we saw, this is purely different. It has nourishment, and then it has fitness. It has one category for comfort. It has one category for mind. So it all focus on the human health. For example, this rating system, previous rating systems and all, we have to give staircase in the building design to promote to help to be used as a fire escape. Okay, so that it talks about safety aspects of the building. But here you have to give staircase in the building to promote human health. Okay, everyone in the building, you should design in such a way that everyone in your building should use the staircase at least once in a day. So that the people who is the science behind that is, if you use the stairs to move up and down, you'll get some exercise behind it. So it will promote your health. Okay, so every point and aspects, all these 100 performance metrics will talk about only the human health and well-being. Okay, so it has almost 186 projects in worldwide, and it has covered almost 145 million square foot space till now, and projects like multifamily residence and then retail, restaurants, sports facilities, healthcare communities till now been registered in this. And all new and existing buildings, new and existing interiors and core projects are can be applied can apply for a WELL certification. It is also actually comparatively costlier than other rating systems. So only the number of buildings is less, but actually it's developing. Okay. It also it's been used almost in 30-40 countries around the world. Even India is adopting this WELL certification. We have almost 2 or 3 buildings, 3 WELL certified buildings in India. Okay. So in WELL, you have these 3 things: WELL silver rated building, WELL gold rated building, and WELL platinum rated building. So and one more thing I forgot. So what these preconditions mentioned here is, preconditions is the one that you should definitely, for example, under the water category, you will have some 10 checklists. 10 checklist you have. So under 10 checklist, you should not all 10 checklist you can easily you can address. You can't address all 10 checklists. Okay, so if you address all checklist under all categories, you will get platinum rated only. So because we can't achieve that because there are many constraints. There are money constraints, there are time constraints. So many constraints will be there for the clients to undergo all these categories, all these criteria. Okay, so because achieving platinum rated is not a easy task. Okay, so under this 10 criteria, there will be like 3 criteria or such like that. It is like precondition. Precondition in the sense you will definitely have to fulfill that. Apart from the 3 criteria, rest in the rest 7, if you can achieve that, you can achieve. If you achieve that, you will get platinum rated. Otherwise, you will just get silver rating. But to get this silver rating, that preconditions under all these categories, that preconditions will be there. That preconditions should be definitely completed, definitely achieved. Okay, if you're not achieving that precondition, then you are not qualified for the rating system. So silver being under all these things, if you achieved the preconditions, then your building gets silver rated. If you achieved the preconditions plus 40% of this optimization. Okay, I said now in the rest 7 criteria, any 3 or 4 you did. Okay. So any 3 or 4 if you did, you will get gold. Okay, and then if the preconditions plus 80% of this optimization, you will get platinum. Okay, so this is the levels they gave in WELL certification. To achieve those levels, you have to satisfy this. Okay, out of 100, you have to achieve almost 80 to 85 points to get this platinum. Okay. Now the green building movement in India. So in India, green building movement, the registered green buildings, it started in the year 2001. That is CII, Confederation of Indian Industry office in office headquarters in Hyderabad. Okay, that is the first green rated building in India. That is almost 20,000 square foot. Okay, that is a LEED platinum rated building. Okay, after that, it came around almost 1,200 green buildings and almost 855 million square foot. This statistics is of 2011. That is like last decade. Okay, so now it reached almost 4,000 5,000 buildings, and we are touching about now. Okay, so. Breaking the myth that green building is costlier, you can see this first green building, CII Godrej Hyderabad, it completed in 2001. Okay, if you the percentage increase in cost is 18% than the conventional building. Okay, if the conventional, if 1 crore, if 10 crore is being spent, means they spent 13 crores, 3 or 4 crores extra they spent to making it green. Okay, but throughout the years, if you see 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost in 2009 itself, the increase in cost percentage is only 2%. Okay, this happened because there is a first green building to be built, and the technology lack was there, and then the knowledge lack was there. But throughout the years, through many trial and errors, and through many research and support, the percentage of cost is almost 2% now, which is very nominal. Okay, because this 2% is going to come back to us as payback period. Okay. So this is the first rating system that is formed in India, Indian Green Building Council. Okay, as part of this Confederation in Indian Industry, CII. Okay, it formed in 2011, and yeah. So in this rating system, these has is 7 categories like sustainable architecture design, site selection, water conservation, energy efficiency, building materials, IEQ, and innovation. As I said earlier, after the 1998, whatever the rating system was formed, it has its directly impact from LEED. Okay, so lead to check somewhat a little similar only it will be. Okay, so the buildings certified in this rating system, it should undergo all these 8 categories while constructing or while developing the building. Okay, and also IGBC offering separate guidelines for all different types of buildings, new buildings, existing buildings, homes, schools, factories, townships. SE is special economic zones, and then for landscape separately it's giving, and then for MRTA separately it's giving. So for each and every typology of buildings, you have separate norms to be followed. Okay, and the certification levels in IGBC is certified, silver, gold, and platinum. The point distribution is as such here. So if you just get 40 to 49, your building is like IGBC certified. Okay, then if you're getting 60 to 74, your building is IGBC gold. Then 75 to 100, your building is IGBC platinum, like that. Okay, so there are some other rating systems also used in India. Now, some 2 years back, they started one rating system called GEM, that is Green Eco-Friendly Management. And then we have EDGE rating system that is also based on UK only, but it's being widely followed in India. And then 1 second. Okay, so EDGE we have, and then the next one is Griha. Okay, so since we have time constraint, I will explain only Griha in detail. Okay, but Griha can be applied to other rating systems also, somewhat similar, but only difference is like the rating system's context. Okay, all the main headings will be the same, but the subheadings or the criteria and categories will be different from rating system to another rating system. Okay, so this is also widely used, both IGBC and Griha. It's been widely used in India. So Griha is a short form for Green Rating for Integrated Habitat Assessment. Okay, so it is being governed by MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, and then the TERI, the Energy Research and Institute, Bangalore. Okay, the Griha's main motto is what gets measured gets managed. Okay, what and all you can quantify, you can manage that, so that you can held accountable and responsible for that. Okay, so this Griha is mainly to facilitate design, construction, and operation of a building. So in turn, you can measure the greenness of a building. So by facilitating all these process of the building, you can measure how much the building is leaking greenness. Okay, so where it all started, the Griha. This is, as I said, this is the CII's headquarter building, Confederation of Indian Industry. This is India's first green traded building. For this building, the green building consultant was TERI, the Energy Research Institute, the Energy and Resource Institute, Bangalore. Okay, this building was awarded LEED Platinum year 2001. So after that, TERI also considering involving in this green rating system. So they. As you see, this is a timeline of Griha rating. TERI Griha was first started as TERI Griha in the year 2005. Then in 2007, MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, came to support Griha. Then after that appreciation, Griha separate council is established in the year 2009. Okay, so what all Griha achieved till that? Many municipalities, Pune, and then Pimpri-Chinchwad, that is a city in Maharashtra, and then Noida, Greater Noida, all these municipalities have adopted Griha as part of their policies. So any and every municipal drawing that came to these municipalities must follow Griha manual for applying. And then states like Delhi, Punjab, Goa, Sikkim, they adopted Griha in their state policies. And then organizations like Central Public Works Department, PWD Maharashtra, and then NBCC, National Building Construction Corporations Limited, all these things, organizations has adopted Griha as adopted Griha as part of their policies. Okay, and we have till now 1,700 projects registered in Griha, and Griha buildings only covered 525 million square foot built-up area in India. Okay, these are some national and international endorsements of Griha. So Griha is adopted as a national rating system in the year 2007 by MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and then. The Climate Project Organization is an organization formed by Mr. Al Gore in the year 2008. This organization recognized Griha as a tool for implementing RE in the building sector, renewable energy. Okay, because all the other rating system also promoting renewable energy, but if you see the Griha's manual, the importance of renewable energy it will be given more. Then by the United Nations, it is recognized as an innovative tool in the year 2009. And then UNEP, that is the United Nations Environment Program, it formed one organization called the Sustainable Buildings and Construction Initiative. In that, they developed this common carbon metric. Common carbon metric in the sense to whatever is released, whatever emissions caused by any greenhouse gases will be measured in terms of carbon. For example, the emissions created by sulfur, nitrogen, ammonia, everything will be converted into carbon and measured as carbon emissions only. That is common carbon metric that is created for these building energies. That is solely this metric is developed by United Nations based on the data they collected from Griha manual. Okay, and then it is recognized as India's own green building rating system and part of mitigation strategy for combating climate change in India's INDC. INDC is intended nationally determined contributions for this United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Okay, so in India's INDC, they included Griha as like this India's own rating system like that. That is a huge endorsement, if you ask me. Coming to this Griha rating system, so as the other rating systems, Griha can and will rate all these different typologies of buildings. It will rate airport, museums, restaurants, special economic zones, apartments, institutes, banks, offices, everything. Okay, different typologies, almost all typologies can be rated in this Griha rating system, given that followed the set criteria in the process. So the variants would be new buildings, existing buildings, and sites. Okay, under new buildings you have SPA Griha, that is simple, versatile, affordable. Okay, this is for the projects that is from 100 square meter to 100 square meter built-up area to 2,500 square meter built-up area. And then you have separately Griha, that is for projects above 2,500 square meter built-up area. And then you have Griha LD, that is for large developments. That is large developments in the sense that is for projects above 50 hectares. And then there is separately called Griha for affordable housing, that is for multi-housing projects. Okay. And then for existing buildings, you can for existing buildings, you should the area should be like above 2,500 square meter. If you have that criteria like that, then you should go for Griha EB. And then for existing day schools, there is separately Griha manual for that. And then sites, Griha for sites, one manual is there, that is for civic bodies, and then this governing government buildings, then industries, and then new settlements. All those things should follow Griha sites. Okay. So where you can find more about these details, this is a homepage of this Griha website. Under this, you will have Griha variants and everything. In that library tab will be there. Go to that. You can check all the details about. You can check all the details about this variants I explained. Everything will have separate manuals. For example, Griha for existing day schools. As you see here, if you go to this library and download this, and you can read what and all they said there. Okay. So coming to the stages involved in the project. Just give me a second. I will correct my charger. So yeah, coming to the stages involved in the project. You have design, construction, operation, and maintenance. You have 4 stages in Griha. Griha will rate your buildings under these 4 stages. For example, under design stage, first after completing the design, you should register your project in the Griha website. After registration, from the Griha team, they will send some people and they will conduct one orientation workshop. That is for the clients and then for the workers to understand what exactly is Griha and how we should go about that. What all we should follow, like that. And then while construction, they will have 2 site visits planned. Griha persons will come and check your building under these 2 site stages, whether you are doing everything correctly or not, like that. After the 2 site visit, you have to submit your documents. Okay. Submit your documents. This document submission is nothing but, as I said, like this is the categories, right? Under all these categories, how and all you perform. You have to document every process. You have to document, and you have to submit it to the Griha officials. They will check that. You have to submit like written words, and then you have to submit supporting photographies and documents also. After verifying all that, only you will get your ratings. So after submitting the documents, they will come to site visit, 3rd site visit. So with this stage, the construction process will be over. After that, you have to after post construction, external evaluation will happen. Griha is best because till this site visit, people from Griha only will come. External evaluation in the sense they will ask 3rd-party evaluators to come and access, because in the future the client should not complain that they showed bias towards my design. They should not blame the Griha. So external evaluators will come to the site and they will examine the building, say everything is done, not good or not. So they will give one provisional rating. Okay, the building is scored 85 points, like that they will give. Then after that, the team should submit one audit report. How much energy is spent, how much what and all they did, everything they have to make as an audit report, and they have to submit to the Griha. After evaluating that only, your final rating will be given. And after that final rating given also, you cannot rest. Every audit data should be submitted for every 3 years. Okay, 3 years to the Griha people, you have to submit your audit report. So they will check whether the building is still performing well or not. If it is poorly performing, then the Griha will take actions. You have to again change it. The Griha rating can be taken back. Okay, so it's not like once you get the rating, you can go back to normal. Once every green building should be maintained throughout its life. Okay. So some key features of the Griha rating is it adopted all these codes, for example, NBC, ECBC, and then MNRE, and then this Bureau of Indian Codes and Standards. Griha studied all these things, and he tried to implicate all these codes in its Griha manual, so that the building will perform well. Because all these has been developed to promote good for the buildings only. So Griha try to implicate this also in its manual, and then it is in sync with the objectives of National Action Plan on Climate Change. Following Griha is like addressing issues on climate change. So another thing is like performance and percentile based rating system. That is like it will talk like this building is 30% consuming, 30% saving water, 40% saving energy, 20% saving emissions, like that. And then it is having non-applicability causes. For example, in Griha there is 1 point. Under landscape you have one point. If you don't cut any trees, you will be rewarded 2 points. Okay, but there will be some site where there are no trees. Okay, so the client can revoke their non-applicability clauses, saying that this particular criteria is not applied to my building or to my project. So you can waive that. Okay, and then it rates all types of buildings, and then it rates this air conditioned, non-air conditioned, and then hybrid buildings. And then one more important thing is like it is customized for all the different types of climate zones in India. According to ECBC, we have 6 different climate zones in India. So mine is warm and humid. I'm in Chennai, so mine is warm and humid climate zone. People who are in Bangalore, they will come under moderate climate zone, and people who are in Delhi, that will come under composite climate zone. And Delhi and Hyderabad is composite climate zone, and then Rajasthan will be hot and dry, and then Shimla will be cold. Okay, so these are like best for these different climate zones. Griha has different approaches. Okay, and then Griha strictly follows this integrated design approach to avoid wastage on money, time, and resources like that. And Griha emphasizes on human comfort. These are how the points weightage is given. So these are all the categories that is followed in Griha: site planning, energy, occupant comfort and well-being, water, sustainable materials, building materials, construction management, solid waste management, socio-economic strategies, and performance monitoring. So all these, if you see, the first weightage will be given for energy. Any rating system you take and check, this energy, water, and then materials will be given much importance when compared to other criteria. Because if you achieve if you make this good, then you can stop a good amount of carbon emissions, and you can stop a good amount of environmental impact and degradation. Okay, so this is what I said. So this, to my left side, this is the categories: site planning, construction, energy, occupant, water, and this is the criteria. Okay, so if you see under site planning category, I have 4 criteria. Okay, so those 4 criteria is accounted for 8 points. Okay, so under construction management, I have 3 categories. These 3 categories is weighted for 9 points. Okay, so like that, each and every category will have its own criteria, will have its own accountability on points. Okay, so it will say under site selection, it will say if a site is close to these amenities like groceries, and then park, ATM, hospitals, like that, then your site close in the sense like for 5 kilometer radius, like that, then your project will be given 1 point. Then if your site planning is promoting low impact design, then you will get 4 points, like that. Design to mitigate urban heat element effect, and then site imperviousness factor. Imperviousness factor in the sense, if you have more ground coverage area, then you will have 1 point, like that. So everything, if you see in detail, it will go like that. Okay, so under construction management, air and pollution control, you should do air and pollution control, water pollution control. Water pollution control, it can be stopped by letting the chemicals down in the site, which will affect the groundwater table. And then air pollution, you should have some barricade around your construction site so that the dust won't spread out much. And then if you have some diesel generator and all, you should let the smoke go out from the outlet of the smoke should be like away from the site, okay, so that the air quality of the site won't be managed. And then you should preserve and protect landscape. For every tree you cut during the construction, you have to plant 3 trees. For example, if you cut 10 trees, you have to plant 30 trees after the construction, okay. Either that or you have to move the tree, okay. And then construction management practices, you should not let the materials to be like out in the sun. If you see many places, the steel will be out in the sun, and on sun and rain it will get rust before the construction itself. So you should have proper shade, and you should have proper coverages of the materials so that dust won't spread. For example, if you put aggregates on the aggregate sand and all, if you're keeping it open in wind, the dust will be carried around. So after you putting it down, you should spray some water on that so that the dust won't spread out, okay. And the vehicles coming in and out, you should have some wheel washing facilities, so that you should wash the lorry tire wheel so that it won't carry the impurities from the site to the surrounding neighborhoods. And then energy efficiency. Under energy efficiency, you should look into daylighting. So you should promote more daylight, so you can depend much on artificial lighting, okay. Even though if you are using artificial lighting, you should use these five-star rated equipments so that it will consume less energy. And then like that, okay. How much your building is building energy saved. For energy efficiency, GRIHA has this term called EPI, Energy Performance Index. So energy performance index is the building's overall energy consumption in a year, okay. So it will come like it will be said like, if for commercial building, the baseline for every building, GRIHA will keep one baseline. For example, commercial building, it will say for this scale, for this occupancy, it should be like, it should be 30 kilowatt hour, like that. So if your building is consuming less than that 30 kilowatt hour, then you will be awarded points, okay. If your building is consuming more than the 30 kilowatt hour, you won't get points. And if you're 30 less than 30 kilowatt hour means 29 also is less, 15 also is less. So it will say less than 25% of the energy performance index, then 1 point. Less than 40%, then 2 points. Less than 60%, then 3 points. Like that it will give. As I said, you see, under energy efficiency only you are having 7 points. Under renewable 7, okay, 13 points, and under renewable 7. So under this energy tab itself, we have 20 points out of 100. That's what I said. Energy is always given more important in any rating system. And then renewable energy, you have to promote more renewable energy like solar power or wind power, like that, rather than depending on the electricity produced by the government, because that is being created by the fossil fuels, okay. So which is promoting which is creating climate change, okay, and global warming. And then zero ODP materials, ozone depletion potential. The materials should not affect the ozone depletion potential. Instance, the material, the creation of the material will have no impact on the environment. Then your building should have these indoor comfort requirements: visual, thermal, and acoustic. And then you should have good indoor air quality, okay. That is for maintaining good indoor air quality, you are having some 4 points. And then you have to use, for using low VOC paints, you are awarded points. And then low flow fixtures, like using low flow fixtures will help in reducing your water dependency, spending more water, okay. So for water efficiency, you will use this low flow fixtures. So for that you are awarded point. And then reducing landscape water demand, like using drip irrigation, and then for planting native species and adaptive species, you can reduce landscape water demand. And then water quality. So every water quality, in the sense, even you also can test your water. You can go to the medical shop and ask for this pH strips, okay. So you take the pH strips, take some water. Even you can take for the drinking water. Your drinking water also. You dip that pH strip there and take it out. If the strip is changing dark orange, something like that, then the pH value of the water is less, like 2.8, like that. Okay, if it is turning dark green like that, then your pH value is 7 to 8. Okay, the water which has pH value more, it has good quality. It is good quality. If it is less than 3 like that, it has bad quality. Even all the RO waters we are drinking, if you check, it will be in light bluish, something like that only. Means it has 5 or 4.5. That is the water we are drinking. Okay, but if for argument's sake, you can check the added drinks, Coke, Pepsi, everything we are drinking. You check that strip and you take it, it will turn to dark orange. So that means the pH value is almost equal to 2.2. Okay, and then on-site water use. So whatever water we are getting from this kitchen waste, and then bathing on that waste, everything, it can be reused. It can be recycled and it can reuse, so that it will reduce the potable water demand. Okay, so you can address your own site's water demand by just reusing your water, and then you can recharge your rainwater and use for landscape and car wash, like that. For that you are getting points. Okay, and then BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. So what are, if you use materials from that BIS standards, then you will get some point. And then if you reduce the embodied energy of your building, you will get point. And then materials like eco-friendly materials, if you use, you will get point. And then post-construction landfill, whatever the construction waste you are generating, you have to try to reuse it, or you have to take it to somewhere where you can reuse it. Okay, if you have to support, you should not let it go to the landfill. Okay, and then whatever organic waste, that leaves, dry leaves and everything that is generated on your site, you have to treat that. You can treat that and you can reuse that. For that you will get point. And then this is also what making Girga unique. Socio-economic strategies. All these 4 points, it is focusing on the workers. Okay, no rating system in the world that is included this criteria. Categories: labor safety and sanitation. You see many laborers, they will just you see their hands and legs for when you have the chance. Okay, they won't wear gloves, they won't have proper dress. Okay, daily some accidents will happen. Okay, my father is civil engineer, I am seeing this daily in the site. Okay, so they will just take they are doing this for a decade or two, so they got practiced, but it's not humane thing to do, actually, if you ask me. So and the construction deaths alone, it's tolling for 1% in a year overall, all over India. Okay, so that means of all the people dying, 1% is due to 1 or 2% is due to this construction unsafetyness. Okay, people are not wearing helmet. Okay, there is no safety nets. People are working on the 10th floor, but there are no safety nets. If they by mistake they fall, they die. Okay, and mishandling of equipments, proper the drilling machine and all, it will be light there, and the wiring will be on the floor itself, so people step on that and get electrocuted. Okay, and then so all this comes under labor safety. So labor should be given proper safetyness, like helmets, and then gloves and all should be given. Proper dress should be there, and then the staircases and railings, everything should be properly netted in the building. Okay, and then sanitation. Many MNC companies will let the workers stay there and work, because they are working almost 18 hours a day. Okay, only 6 hours there is been rest. So every workers are staying there only. But for them, they are living in a place where we can't call it a house. Okay, so just one aluminum sheet will be there. Okay, no sunlight will be inside, and if rain comes, it will enter their place, and they don't have proper proper sanitation places also. Okay, their kids will be playing there. Okay, they will get hurt. Okay, so there are many points are there. So Griha is giving you 1 point if you are giving proper safetyness to the labor, and if you are giving some drinking water and proper restroom access for them, it will give 1 point. And then design for universal accessibility. All ramps and lifts should be there in the building, so that an aged person should not, an aged person or physically handicapped person should not feel bad that he can't enter the building. Okay, and then dedicated facilities for service staff. This is our 2 points here. If you give one restroom, that is like not toilet, the place where the staff can rest. Okay, we have women laborers. Okay, so in their in the time of if they are weak, or in the time of period, they can come and take rest. And then if some laborers, they are fresh, they just came out of their maternity leave, so they can take rest there. And some sick person may be there, so they can come and take rest there. So that one restroom should be there, one hospitality space, one healthcare center should be there, one creche for their children should be there. If you give all those spaces for the laborers, you will get 2 points. Increase in environmental awareness. For example, if in your building you are keeping one banner, or you are keeping one video running in the TV showing something about saving water, or switching off the lights if not necessary, something like that. Okay, if you do like that, if you create one environmental awareness in your building, then you will get 1 point for that. Okay, and then here also innovation is there. Okay, what I said before, like anything you do innovatively, if you apply for that, you may get points for that. Okay, so this is how the point segregation will be there. This is how it happens for every rating system almost. This is the categories will be there. Under categories, criteria will be there. For each criteria, you will get points. Okay, if you go and check the manual in the website, each and under every criteria, you will have checklist given. You do this, you do that, you do like this, you do like that. So if you follow all that, you will be applicable for these points. And in the last stage, how much points you achieved, based on that you will get this rating. Okay, so Griha, it's like this: above 86 or more is 5-star, that is a best performance, and 25 to 40 is 1-star, that is a poor performance. Okay, though it is poor performance, it is doing better than the conventional building. Okay, that's what it matters here. So Griha social network, not only Griha, every rating system now is very active on the social networks. It has Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, everything. You can go and check their daily updates there. And these are some Griha rated buildings. Zero energy building, net zero energy. This is net zero energy building. This is a Hareda office building in Haryana. Okay, this is what I said, EPI, energy performance index. Okay, this is 17 kilowatt per kilowatt hour per square meter per annum. Okay, so this is less than the Griha benchmark. Okay, so this can be easily awarded 5-star. Okay, because if you achieved, if you clear this energy part itself, you are getting almost 20 points. Okay, and see here, they are almost renewable energy, almost 42.5 kilowatt power they installed. So this is a huge. They are almost sustaining on their own power. Okay, this is one more building, Indira Paryavaran Bhavan in New Delhi. It's also Griha 5-star. This is also net zero energy building. And yeah, some of the other key flagship projects of Griha is IITs, all new IITs, Hyderabad, Ropur, and then Jodhpur and others. It is coming under Griha. And then Indian Institute of Managements like Udaipur, Tiruchirappalli, and Kashipur, it's coming under Griha. Central universities from Jammu, Rajasthan is coming under Griha. And then International Academy in in this Kidwai Nahar redevelopment, that New Delhi, that is also coming under Griha. And then Raksha Shakti University, Ahmedabad, and South Asian University. These all key projects that is coming under Griha, that is registered, and it is happening now. Okay, this is for SBA Griha, that is 100 square meter to 2,500 square meter. Okay, this is a SBA Griha 5-star rated building, and then this is a 4-star rated building in Nashik, a green space realtors office building. And this is IIT Gandhinagar Gujarat project. This is a Griha 5-star LD large development rating is given for this project. Okay, and this is CP. So all this rating system will have its own professionals. Okay, to carry out all this work. For example, for all these criterias, okay, for all these criterias, you have to take photographs, you have to make documents. Every criteria will require its own documents. For example, if you say site selection, you are eligible. You have to take photograph. You have to do proper documentation, and you have to submit to them. Okay, to verify all this and to implement all this rating system would require professionals. Okay, that's where the certified professionals will come into play. Okay, so every rating system, Griha has CP, IGBC has CAP, accredited professionals, and then BRIAM has CAP. So any rating system you take, there will be like this certified professionals in the rating system who have to go through some process. Every rating system has its own process. They have to go through those process and clear the requirements given by the rating system to become the certified professional. For Griha, either if you have undergraduate in any technical stream, say civil engineering, architecture, electrical, mechanical, you are qualified to write a Griha. You are qualified to become certified professionals. And if you are not in those stream, but still you are interested in this thing also, you can apply, but you should have 2 years of minimum work experience in the related field. Okay, and then how to become this Griha CP? You have to attend a 3-day training program. Okay, that will cost around you $6,500. After attending those training program, now it's become 5-day online program, 9 to 1 like that. Okay, you can check the Griha website for further information. So after attending those training program, 5-day training program completed, you will get one username and password. So you have to take the username and password, put in those community portal, and then there will be sample papers and steps, and then you have to register for exam, and then you can be, after passing the exam, you can qualify. You can be a qualified certified professional. Okay. So how to book a slot? Every month, Griha, only one chance you will get on writing the exam. Every month, you will be on 3rd Friday. You can write the exam. Every month, 3rd Friday it will be the exam date. Okay, so you can book on those months, but only 50 people can be at a time writing the exam. So if you want to write next month, you have to book this month mid like that itself. So 1 month prior you have to book. The exam fees would be 1,000 rupees for one attempt. If you fail this time also, next time you can write. Next month you can write. This is an open book exam, but still it will be very tough to clear. Okay, and you can write it in either from your home also through online, or you can go to the exam test centers and write. So this is what the community portal I said. After attending the workshop, you will get one username and password. You have to put it here, and then you have to log in. After login, it will show like the certified professional exam. You have to put email and stuff, and you have to pay the exam fees. Then you can write the exam. Inside it will have sample question paper, and then what are the rules you have to follow and everything. On the exam day, you will get the link. You have to write the exam, and you can pass it. So exam type will be like 60 questions. Okay, you have 3 sections. So it is like first 40 questions, 1, 2, and 3 marks, and then true or false question 1 mark, and then here calculations will be like again 3 mark questions. Here Griha is tricky because it is multiple choice question. So every question it will ask you to select 1 or more answer. So that's what, even though it's a open book question, it will take you it will be very tough to clear. Okay. So if you become Griha CP, what are the benefits is, I said right here, innovation. So under innovation, if one Griha CP, one certified professional is working under your project, this project will get 1 point. Okay, so like that for IGBC also, and every rating system under innovation tab, if one certified professional is working under your project from the start to end, then you will get 1 point for your building. Okay, and then for all these training programs, and you can become this part of this Griha training programs, and then you can get discounts for all these national summits and all. This is Indira Pariyavaran Bhavan. Okay, this building is special because it has both Griha 5-star and LEED Platinum rated. Okay, this is located in New Delhi. This is office for Ministry of Environment and Forest. Okay, this is an office type building, and it has 600 occupants, and it's working almost 9 hours a day. It's located in composite climate. Okay, it ground coverage is almost 30% only. It's reduced the ground coverage as much as possible. Okay, so its orientation is north-south. Okay, so typical orientation for composite climate. There itself, it reduced so much heating, per se reduced energy consumption, and it has optimum window to wall ratio, and it has its specialty is it has almost 75% of its floor space delit. So reducing the dependency of artificial lighting very much. Okay, and it used optimal glassing, which has low U value, high visual light transmittance, and low solar heat gain coefficient, and that again helped in saving energy. Okay, and it has so this is a building. So due to this indoor courtyard, you can see here, this indoor courtyard is helped with help of stack effect. It brought good cross ventilation, and it helped to sustain the microclimate of the building, which is important to a building that is located in a composite climate, because it has to withstand harsh summer and harsh winter also. Okay, so this building has largest. This building is as largest solar power installed in the country, and it is producing almost 70% of the building's energy consumption, and then from the solar panels itself, these all roof things, it's covered with solar. And then this building has 0 water discharge. So not 1 drop of ounce of water also is being let out of the site. All the water is collected, and it's being reused. Okay, so this is a typical example of net zero energy building in our country. Okay. These are some other rated buildings in India. This is Biodiversity Conservation India Limited, BCIL, Bangalore. It has LEED Platinum. This is Suzlon One Earth building. This Suzlon is one of the major energy producer in India. They are producing renewable energy to our central government. And this is Olympia Tech Park in Chennai. This is LEED Gold. This is a school in Ladakh. This is also LEED Gold. This school is totally functioning on the renewable energy alone. So this is famous for it. And this is one it's IDC Green Center in Gurgaon. This is a platinum. This is also one of the old platinum rated building. This is a Raintree Hotel in Chennai. This is the first eco-sensitive hotel. This is also LEED Platinum. And this is the first green campus, Doon School in Dehradun. This is also LEED Platinum. This is Rajiv Gandhi International Airport, Hyderabad, LEED Silver. And this is LEED Gold rated building, Nokia office in Gurgaon. Okay. These are the few of the many green rated buildings in our country. Okay. So what my role in this green ratings is, as you heard in the introduction, I am a sustainable architect. I finished my master's in sustainable architecture from SPA Vijayawada, and I have almost 3 years experience as a teacher, and also I'm practicing as a sustainable architect once I completed my degree. Ever since I completed my degree, So from those time, I now all this I have completed all these exam, GEM CP, GEM Griha, IGPC, and then this is one thing, one rating system from Sri Lanka, but it can be used in our Tamil Nadu because, as you know, if you want to register your building, if you want to get your building rated, you have to the registration fees you have to pay. Okay, that fees is considerably larger. Okay, for IGPC Griha it's okay, but lead and all it is larger. Okay, and IGPC Griha also nowadays is increasing, but countries like Sri Lanka, where the GDP value is less than ours, so I chose this, and surprisingly they also implied many good features in their rating system. And most of all, uh, by learning these rating systems, we can understand how much we can understand how we can make our building green and reduce the impact. Because as an architect, we are responsible to reduce the to be a responsible citizen and to be a responsible person in this place society. So we have to come out of this conventional building ideology, and we have to implicate this shift in building industry. Because if you are not doing this, then we have to question our mottos and visions. Okay, so I have involved myself in all this rating system. In this years, I have cleared all these exams, and I am whatever buildings or projects I am doing, either the building, whether the building is rated or not, I don't care. I will just try to imply all these things I learned in these rating systems in my design process. Okay, so this is EDGE, as I said. This is also a UK-based rating system, but almost has 100 countries and stuff. This is Eco Districts. This is from USA. In this, you can learn how to build a sustainable community projects. That is very well explained, and this fit well. This is also a healthy building rating system like well, but this also has a very huge difference between these two, and it focusing both on health and economic of the particular economic value of that particular building. Okay, so I would suggest, like, even though if you're going to write these exams and clear this exam, that doesn't matter. But I would suggest you people to students to learn this, at least go through this once, and try. You can easily check your building, your semester's design itself, and cross check with this criteria. Okay, it will be surprising how much your building will rate. Okay, so you just check yourself. You can check like this. And students who are in final years, the thesis, you can take some green rated. You can challenge yourself by designing some green buildings. Okay, rather than going for a regular one, which because 9-8 semesters you will be designing the same one. For now, at least you change your perspective and try to involve yourself in this. Yeah, that would be it.
Thank you, sir, for a very interesting presentation. We shall now move ahead to the Q&A session. So the first question is, what is the future, green buildings or smart buildings, or a combination of both practices?
I think I would say combination of both practices, because I didn't say green buildings can't be smart buildings. Green buildings can be smart buildings. Okay, but green buildings can be smart buildings, but smart can't necessarily be green. Okay, so we should try to design both. We should try to design a hybrid building which is green and smart.
So what are the various factors that should be considered while designing a green building in rural areas? So in rural areas, you should check for the local availability. So based on the local availability, if you start from scratch and if you start the design, then it would be good. Because if you are building in rural areas, then if you are trying to involve as much technology in that, then you will automatically involve so much transportation, which is not good for our environment. So transportation is equal to emissions.
So if you're going to build in rural areas, first thing you should do is like how you are going to minimize the resources and stuff.
What is the best way to implement green building concept for new hospital buildings?
Okay, so see, designing wise, as an architect or as a designer, you keep the design. You first design the building, then you go through you go through these concepts and try where and how you can fit these concepts. For example, hospital building. So hospital building is coming under this hospitality sections, which is going to consume more electricity than the normal residential building. So your focus should be what are the strategies that will reduce the energy consumption of my particular building. So how I can reduce the cooling load of the hospital, then how I can maximize the daylight into my hospital. So by maximizing the daylight, I'm automatically reducing the lighting load and also creating a good environment for my patients. So keeping the design, first you have to design, and then you have to think about all these sustainable strategies, all the pressure points you have to think. Then you have to mix both, and then you have to check the final product.
Are there any rules and regulations on the use of green building materials?
Building materials. No, there are no such rules. Only see, green building materials are not. First of all, it's going to be it's a material that is going to be used in our construction. So it should not sacrifice any of the materials property. For example, I'm saying I'm using some lightweighted bricks, but even though it is lightweighted, it should not sacrifice in the structural part. Still, it should function good in a structural way, but it should reduce the environmental impact. For example, I will switch over from normal burnt bricks to AAC bricks. Okay, AAC bricks is lighter in weight. Okay, so lighter in weight, but AAC bricks is good because it is being created from the fly ash, which is a waste product of the cement, and it is light to carry, and it requires less. It is used for speedy in construction. So you have to come. You should not sacrifice in the place where you not sacrifice. Other than it is good.
Thank you, sir, for the interesting and informative talk. We will be posting a recording of this webinar on our college website soon. There is always room for a new idea, a new step, a new beginning. So before wrapping up the session, I would like to take the opportunity on behalf of the entire AAAD team to heartily thank Architect Surya Prakash sir for sharing his valuable time with us and educating us towards the better future. Teamwork is the ability to work together towards a common vision. I would like to thank Architect Siddhartha sir and Architect Krishan sir, the webinar coordinators, Architect Harshita ma'am for the broadcasting coordinator. I would also like to thank our principal, Director Professor Ganesh Babu sir, without whom this session would not be possible. Thank you, sir, for introducing us to various speakers from all around the globe and giving us a lot of exposure. A special mention to the Aditya group of institutions for always being kind and generous and in accepting our requests. Lastly, I would like to thank all our participants today and all the students. It is an honor to be your moderator for today's webinar with such immensely talented people on this platform. Thank you. Stay safe, stay home, and take care.